We'll wait a few more minutes, couple of minutes. See if Miss Dana plugs in.
Super Bowl hangover.
A Super Bowl. Kenny, are you on? Eleanor,
Yes.
I guess Kenny has some background noise in his computer. It says it's muted.
He's actually muted. It might be me. The girls from my
Whoa.
don't have.
Yeah, because he's muted.
Yeah, no, I think the background is gonna be me because our office is like kind of connected and it's only this that's.
Your office, you can tell when somebody's at the parking lot.
Yes. My office is the loud one.
Okay, it's 2:04 on February the 14th. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody.
Happy Valentine's Day.
I'd like to go ahead
Happy
and call
Valentine's Day.
this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Roll call. Francina Martinez.
Present.
Alan Franken.
Ellen, can you hear
I
us?
think he froze.
He's frozen.
Yeah, he's
We'll
frozen.
skip to Michael Montoya.
Present.
Dinah Minus. And let's see if we can get Ellen to unfreeze there. Alan, can you hear us?
There he is.
There he is. Alan, can you hear us?
Yes. Am I muted?
You guess. You were like
You're like frozen.
I said present. You didn't hear me.
No.
No. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't do anything, I thought, but present. Yes. I'm sorry.
No, that's
I was
fine.
waiting for you to go on.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm reading resolution.
Okay, so we do have a quorum. Now, if everybody will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the agenda. On the agenda itself, Ms. Minus had requested that we get a breakdown, and there is a breakdown there in your packets of the date, supposed to be a day-to-day breakdown for the month.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
I second it.
First and second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, none. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of January the 18th, 2022. Everybody get their copies,
Mhm.
their packet?
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
I second it.
Can't hear you, sir. You're muted.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, seeing none, motion passes to approve the minutes. First, another item, next item is public input. Do we have any, Eleanor?
No,
Okay. I don't know if you guys remember Eleanor Durant. She's our city finance general accountant. Mr. Vaqueras is out honeymooning today. So Eleanor will be stepping in for him. First item of discussion is letter A. There's no input. So resolution number 22-06, adjustments for 2022 fiscal year increase. Ms. Eleanor Durant?
this is to increase the general funds budget for 45,500. This is, if you'll see, there was a new position created for the deputy city manager, and that is to cover that position. Also to increase the streets fund in the amount of $3,824,686, and that is for money that was given from the DOT. So that is just to increase the budget for that piece. And that is it for that resolution.
Does anybody have any questions?
When will that project begin?
That one is the one on Legion, right?
Yes, Legion.
I think the project, I'm not sure if it was already laid out, but it should be starting now pretty shortly. We do have to have public meetings and neighborhood meetings and get together with the contractor and then we'll do a ribbon cutting or some sort before we start the project. That was a $3.8 million project. And the thing with this one is that we were supposed to contribute a percentage of it, which was, I think, 1.5 million or 1.9 million. And the DOT diverted that and they took it off and they're getting the whole, they're taking care of the whole amount. So the city is not matching any of it. It's all DOT monies. And the 45,500 was an adjustment because Marin Council added a position as deputy chief, city manager, deputy chief to the city charter or chart, to the city chart. And that's what the adjustment for that one. And those have, that position had gone through Marin Council.
It's a new one or it's just an adjustment to one?
It's a new position that we asked to be filled. Yeah. So with that, if there's no other questions or discussions, I'd ask for a motion to approve resolution 22-06.
So are we approving or we're just
Yes.
saying it's good?
No, approving. I stand for a motion to approve Resolution 22-06 budget adjustments.
Yeah, so moved, Mr. Chairman.
We need to. Thank you, Mr. Franken. First,
I'll second it.
thank you, Francine. Roll call.
Francina Martinez,
Approved.
Alan Franken,
Aye,
I think
yes.
Okay. Okay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is letter B, which is Resolution 22-07, repeal and replace Resolution 2144.
this is in essence the same issue as the 2144. It was just to fix a couple of errors when the reporting was done and the figures were submitted to the councilman and mayor. When it was discovered when we were trying to enter it in the budget into DFA, they didn't like the way it was written, so we just had to basically rewrite the whole sequence so we could get it entered into DFA correctly.
The $10,000 amount was not spent into 2020, so it did not correctly roll over to the budget of 2021. And that's what they're correcting. That's what they're doing.
So did we already look at this?
This was on the last agenda, but then they found out that this $10,000 were not added on to the 2021 budget, so that's when they brought it back. They pulled it out from the last city council meeting, pulled it out, and they wanted this committee to approve it and then go back to city council.
But everything else we already looked at, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, all the other expenditures were looked at. It was just this one that they overlooked and they're correcting. So with that, I'll stand for a motion to approve Resolution 22-07, repeal and replace Resolution 2144.
So moved.
Thank you, Francine.
I'll second the motion.
And second, Mr. Franken. Motion passes. Next item on the
Francina,
agenda is.
Yes, sir.
just to clarify that, Mr. Montoya, that resolution we reviewed on October the 2144.
Yes. But they forgot to put in that $10,000. That's what he's telling us. So he didn't put in that $10,000 and they're adding it to it.
2021 budget. Yeah, it's a rollover from last year's. Okay. Next item is item number C, which is January finance report.
January finance report. So we're general fund for January. We're at 65% of revenue and 48% expenditures, and we have a surplus to date of $1,221,496. Enterprise revenue, we have 53%. Expenditures, we're at 42%, and we are at a surplus of $1,094,502. Recreation, Revenue at 36%, expenditures 28%, surplus of 50,870.
Can you hear me?
Lodgers tax. I'm sorry?
I just didn't know if you could hear me. I had a question on the enterprise.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Frank.
On the on the gas department, on the natural gas fund, that one seems to be way down on gas income and expense. Was that just degree days? Was it just warmer than normal, or just loss of customers? Have you guys got any idea why we're so far down on both?
I would think it's pretty down. Well, we've had a pretty warm winter up until recently, and this is as of last month. So it really hasn't been that cold, as if you can see yourself. Like even today, we're having an exceptionally warm day. So I think it's just all the weather for right now. It hasn't really been that cold, and we haven't even received a lot of snow either.
Okay.
Well, Madam
No.
Eleanor, I'd just like to note that Ms. Dinah Minus jumped on board at 2:18. Thank you. And just to catch you up, welcome, Ms. Dinah. And
Hi there. Sorry, I didn't see the 2 o'clock on there for some reason. I just.
well, happy Valentine's Day to you too. But we are on agenda on item number D.
Okay.
Well, C. Go ahead, Mr. Franken. I'm sorry. Was that?
Well, I just wanted to see if we had any good research or reasons why those incomes and expenses were down, and the warm temp portion. But I was just hoping we're not losing customers or anything, and that could explain it as well. So, okay, we'll keep an eye on.
Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Eleanor.
So recreation, I'll repeat recreation. General for revenue, we have 36% revenue. Expenditures, we're at 28%. Surplus of 50,870. Lodgers tax. Revenue, we're at 72%. Expenditures, we're at 47%. And we have a surplus of $96,065.
You have 3 different months of lodgers tax on there.
Yes, for comparison, as requested.
And to let you know, at Wednesday's meeting, we have 2 more, I believe, 2 more requests for lodgers tax. And one of them is going to be for Friday Frescoes. And the other one's going to be for the Arts Council, what is it? The activities that happen over at Carnegie Park in the summer months. I can't think of the title, but anyway, we have those 2 requests that came. There will be on our agenda also. Eleanor, do you remember what expenses there were this last month on the lodgers tax?
I do not.
Okay.
I didn't specifically look at them.
Okay.
If I may, Eleanor, I did receive your disbursement detail for January. And would those expenses be in this whole 50-page document?
Yes.
Okay. And
Those
you can answer the questions if we have any. Okay. I don't know if anybody else had a chance to look at them.
Actually, I don't have my list here, but go ahead, Dinah.
I just browsed at them. I just checked my email and I saw that you actually had sent one, and this is exactly what I was looking for.
Okay,
But who could answer the questions that we may have?
So are we moving on to C?
Excuse me?
So are we moving on to C
Oh, okay. I just
D.
asked a question, that was all.
or D? Yeah. To D. No, I'm just wondering if we're moving on.
No, we're still on D. C is next meeting scheduled for March 14th.
No, we just finished with the finance report. Are we gonna move on to D?
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
on
that's
D.
what she was asking about.
Yes.
Okay.
So what kind of questions did you have? Because Eleanor's here to answer.
Okay. Let's,
And this is the breakdown. Did everybody get it about the breakdown on the city's checks that they issue out for the month of January? Okay,
Yes.
go ahead. I don't have my copy with me, but go ahead.
I received like the first one with all the checklisting. Did everybody see that one?
Yes.
Yes.
So everything that's on this, the bank transaction report is that's actually tied to the disbursement detail report. Correct, Eleanor?
yes,
That's what it looks like to me. Okay.
yes.
Okay. So as far as like now, like,
Wait a minute, Ms. Dinah.
Yeah.
So which report did you want to have from here on out?
hey, both of
Because
them are
they're-
great.
Because
I
both of
mean,
them,
you know, they're both great because this one I did review it. I looked at it and I thought, wow, this is great.
Okay.
This is who all the checks were made out to.
okay,
But then I thought about it and I said, okay, well, but now the description is missing, right?
okay.
So
Now-
then I saw that you all sent the second report, which is great because
Now,
those
in
two
your
tied.
system, do you have a different format other
No,
than
no,
those
no,
two?
this is great.
No?
This is
Okay.
great. This
Okay.
is
Now,
awesome.
Eleanor,
That
is that
that
okay?
says
Okay,
this
Now,
tells a
Ele-
story as to what you spent for the month, right? But now
Right.
who can interpret what you spent, you know?
Yes.
I had
The
Mr.
50-page report, I say it gives the better description,
Yes,
because there's so many transactions, there's no
Sure.
way, none of us are gonna remember what so-and-so check was for so-and-so amount. There's no way,
Well, of
so.
course not.
it's-
but just by looking at it,
Yes,
I'm just saying like, I
Okay.
thought, well, Jesus, does he see every actual expense go out? And in my line of business here, I am the CPO as well as the business manager. So I hold two titles. So I know every transaction that goes out, okay? Because I sign every single one. But
yes.
I don't think that Jesus does, correct?
He does, in a sense,
does?
because he has to approve whether it's a purchase requisition that comes through. So he's approving for budget and compliance, and it usually will go through either Dominic or Jesus, the deputy finance director. So somebody is looking, and then again with the amounts, if it's over, I believe 5,000 amount, even the city manager also has to approve. So they're aware, in a sense, what
He
is.
would know. So if I ask that question, he would know.
Yes,
Because if you're going to provide this report to me, which I was asking for, we're going to look at it and we're going to say, okay, with all this funding that you have the enterprise. What is the enterprise paid for? Then you have your lodger's tax. What is your lodger's tax paid for? You have different funds, correct?
yes.
Okay. So that way, that's going to give us a better picture to look at to see. I think you had a question earlier, Mr. Montoya, as to,
Okay.
I don't know if it was for the larger tax or something. But this would tell us, okay?
It's minus, hold on a second. Now, Eleanor, is there any issues or concerns about doing both reports every month?
No, I can, they're emailed, so you all have the option to print or not. If you wanna, but since they're all emailed and there's no sense in, worrying about it. If
All right,
that's what
and
you'd like
just,
to see, is
and
both.
just to, and just to save time, I ask that you review those reports ahead of time and highlight the questions that you have on whatever page or whatever question you might have on any single item. And then we'll go person by person on your questions. So go ahead, Ms. Minus. And I thank you I thank you for inviting me to your finance committee, and I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I feel a lot more confident that our education system is in good hands. Go ahead.
Okay. No, like I said, when I saw the bank transaction report, I mean, that tells you all the list as to all your vendors that you paid. Okay. I could identify some of them because I know that we use a lot of them. Us here at the district, we use, for example, we use CDWG, at Granite Telecommunication. I think we had done business with them in the past for hotspots, and this was like last year when we were going through COVID. You know, I'm on page 1. You know, your Las Vegas Optic. That I know you probably everything that all of your meetings, council meetings, need to be advertised if you're going out to bid. I'm sure that's what that's used for. Popular Dry Goods. I'm sure you buy uniforms for your staff through there.
Yes, it's to supply our public works department for their clothing that they need, their safety gear, their jackets, their boots.
Verizon. I saw that you had Verizon. You also have Plateau. You also have T-Mobile. Can you elaborate on why we have 3? You have 3 vendors for I don't know if Verizon's your cell phone use. Is Plateau your internet access? Is T-Mobile? Looks like T-Mobile is $980 a month. So is that your cell phone use for your staff?
So what's the question?
What do you use those 3 vendors for?
Oh,
Like Verizon, what is Verizon being used for?
Verizon is, I don't know. I'm still new, so I'm learning to see who pays what. But I know it's the cell phone. We do pay a lot of the employees' cell phone bills.
And I'm trying to look for it as we speak. I don't want to take up all everybody's time. I know that this is homework, but I thought Plateau. I thought I did see Plateau as.
Plateau no longer offers cell phone service. They're all internet, so I believe Plateau's for the internet.
Is the internet, right?
Yeah.
Right, that's
Plateau does not offer cell phone service anymore. They sold that piece out to AT&T years ago.
So you think that maybe the Verizon would be to?
I believe it's.
Then I saw on your expenditure report, on your disbursement, that you're paying staff members for cell phone use. So let's say I was your employee and I chose you guys are going to give me a cell phone. You're giving $50 is what it is.
I believe there's some staff members that do get a $50 stipend for those for the use of their personal cell phone. I believe they're paying these staff members that didn't want to have a city issued cell phone, so they're giving them a stipend of $50 a month to use their personal phone.
Okay, on page 34, I do see T-Mobile USA. It says telephone, GPS, service, customer service, November through December. Wireless utility. And that is your $980. Do you know what that service is for?
Yeah, I believe a lot of our vehicles have GPS service on them. So that's the service that provides that kind of for that kind of activity. Like our utility cars have that service installed in them. So the director can tell where that vehicle is at all times.
Sorry, please. Okay, that one was on page 34. Let's, you also have, okay, then you have feral gas, page 35. You have propane for 1,045.
That we've been using to heat the ice rink outside. The employees need a propane heater outside,
Propane,
keep them warm.
propane for staff?
Yes, since they're out in the tent in the cold.
The ice skating rink.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yes, the ice skating rink.
It's kind of funny when you think about it, huh?
Yes.
It is.
Um, Anybody else have a question? Is it just
I do. Do they teach a Tai Chi class at the rec?
At the rec, I believe so.
Okay,
Yeah,
'cause there is one for a Tai Chi
yeah.
class.
And they also pay for internet service there too.
Okay.
And they were paying for aerobics at one time, water aerobics. So, but I don't know if that's on there or not.
page 36, Souder, Miller and Associates, $58,000. It's a professional service, but you're paying WTP O&M. What does that, all that acronym stand for?
I believe that is for the water service. We need, we don't have anybody to come in and to clean. It's with our water. They have to pay these. They're contracted out because there's very few people that know how to. It's for the water treatment plant. That's what it stands for, water treatment plant. And they have to come in and do all this. I don't know. I was explained to, but it's like very high tech. And they're telling me this accountant that doesn't do that kind of stuff. But it's a process that they have to do something with the water treatment plant, and it's very costly. And apparently, like, there's very few people in the state who can actually do this.
And
We didn't have to go out to bid for that service due to the
No.
fact that it remained under 60,000.
we have sometimes we have like 3 companies that are under contract for services as such. So if our director calls somebody and they're busy, tied up, they can't handle it, or whatever the case may be, they'll go to that second vendor or the third vendor in some cases, and that goes along with water and gas and solid waste contracts.
Okay. My next question is, what fund is that being paid out of?
The water treatment?
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Where does it tell me on this report where it was paid from?
Water treatment is going to be your enterprise.
Is the enterprise?
Yes. So if you look at your enterprise, and
Okay.
you'll see, like if you, an example, look at Sauter, Miller and Associates, it will have a number right under a number sequence, right under the invoice number. This tells you what fund it's being paid out in. The first 3 digits that lets you know what department it is. So if you look 640, and if you look at your enterprise budget sheet, it has the number 640 next to written next to water. So that lets you know that expense is within there.
Thank you. I wanted to, that was,
And
that
my
helps quite a
apologies,
bit.
Ms. Minus, my apologies. I meant to, at the beginning of this, when we introduced that form, I meant Eleanor to go through each line item on there and explain what each number was about. But my apologies. I forgot about that. I don't have it right in front of me, so, but yeah.
No, thank you so much.
So the same company might be pulling out of different line items. Depends if it's a grant or if it's something from the legislature or something from our utilities department. It all depends what line item it comes from or what they're doing. Right, Eleanor?
And
Yes.
at this point,
Go ahead, Mr. Franklin.
and in fact, we wouldn't know whether that's a monthly or a annual or a quarterly fee. That would be the requisition. I personally want to
You're breaking up.
a lot.
see
We can't hear you.
You're breaking out, Mr. Franklin.
Well, I don't know why this month I seem to have issues. Can you hear me okay?
It's blurry
No.
and it's breaking out. I don't know for what reason.
Well, but that's okay. I'll try to get a better connection next time.
Okay, go ahead and try again. What was the question?
You know, by looking at this report, we don't know whether that's an annual or a monthly or quarterly payment. For my own report available as for transparency, but I would prefer to be more at the 50,000 foot level and not go through the line items on 50 pages of expenditures. Unless there is a specific issue that pops up that we say, hey, wait a minute, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah,
it is
I
good for
understand.
us to have access.
Sure.
Yeah. And that was my point when this report was asked for, is that we didn't want to go pointing every 10th item or anything like that, because we'd be here all day. But that's why I say, do your homework, highlight the ones you have questions on.
Right.
You know, if there's 3 or 4 that each one has, well, we'll work on those 3 or 4. But as far as the funding, Eleanor, I don't think you can. Most of this comes through different contracts that the city has, and those contracts are either hourly or pretty much hourly. And it breaks it down to employees, to supervisors, to labor, to equipment, and so forth, how much we pay by the hour. So some of those amounts will be, they have breakdowns to them when we pay them. They have breakdowns as to what they did, how many hours, how many employees, what equipment, and so forth. We're just seeing the total amount. But we have the capability of, for instance, last week, we approved a contract for electrical service. Well, we have the ability to go to finance and say, give me the report as how much you spent last year on this. And we spent $5,000. So it gives us a breakdown as how many times, how many invoices we paid. If those $5,000 in that whole year were paid off and during 20 visits, and then in those 20 visits, it gives us a breakdown as to what they did and where they did it at. So, but I don't think, Eleanor, you have access to, if it's where it's coming from, that you're paying off these amounts, right? To have it more of a broad breakdown.
I would have to, it would be written on the requisition itself and how
Yeah.
it's written, how we're going to pay these vendors. Some of them, like, it's like Mr. Montoya says, it's per the hour. for repairs or whatever, but, and equipment rental, so it might vary, and we might not need that equipment this time for that repair, so it just depends, it varies. And it also depends on how it's written in the contract.
And some of this contractors, they're already on the listing for the state. So we don't have to go out for bid. We avoid that process and save the city some money. But a lot of the bigger dollar items, they're through contracts that we approve on a 4-year contract, but renewable every year. So they come back to us every year, and if mayor and council see anything, or the director of the department, they see anything that's going wrong, or we'll question any amount like we do here. And if there's a problem, we bring it to light, and either we approve or disapprove. But that's how come most of the time with the utilities contracts, we try and get 2 or 3 vendors, depends on what it is, to be able to go, like for instance, a gas line in Springer. I mean, we have a gas line that comes in from Colorado through Springer, Raton, Springer into Vegas, and our responsibility is from Springer this way. If we have an emergency break, well, we have not only one, but maybe 2 or 3 different companies that can address the issue as an emergency. So, but they will charge separately for emergency as if it would be a regular scheduled service. Hope that explains a little bit.
Well, on most of this, you can tell what they paid for through the descriptions. And you can tell what is a contract. Just looking at them, it just takes time to look at everything to see what's what.
Well,
it's not like it's going to take us forever to look through it.
no, you get
The questions that Dinah did ask, they are important to what she was asking. If you guys do have where you did do where you did check to see if you did do what did you ask them if they did? If they had done a bid, if they did go out for bid for certain things, because it is a good question. You know what I mean? Because that was a big expense for something.
and maybe you didn't, because I thought I saw something that there was another expense. I'm just looking at the bank report.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one's 58,000 to that same vendor, to that Solder, Miller and Associates. That one was 58,000, and I thought I saw on the second page, I believe, of the bank statement, where we also paid out 81,000 to them. And you said this was a company.
Well, no, what you're seeing there is the total. We paid.
Oh, it's a total?
That yes, so that's the check total. 81,000 went to Solder and Miller. One invoice was for 58,000 that you pointed
Correct.
out, and the other amount was 22,000.
22,000. Okay. I just want to know how to read it, like when I asked you, like, what fund code does it come from? And you said like the 640 is enterprise, correct?
Yes.
546. Where did you say that I would find the 540, the fund code on
The fund code is going to be listed on that January AP tech report. You'll see that the detail. It's right under invoice. It's listed in that sequence of numbers. The first
Okay, I see.
digits will give you, that's the department.
I see. Oh, I see. Okay. Awesome. The way I look at the finance committee, it's just like a little mini audit. It's just for us to help you all stay on track, right? I mean, that's what I feel. That's what I do with our finance committee here at the school district. There's been times, there was one time, for example, that one of the committee members said, Dinah, I think I saw this last month, this expenditure to somebody. Can you look into it for me? And I said, sure. And And lo and behold, we paid that expense twice. Because of that person, because of that committee member, he saw the expenditures. He was able to identify that we had paid it twice. See, so with little things like that, to me, it's like, gosh, I'm glad he caught that. You know what I mean?
It's always
So-
nice to have more pairs of eyes looking in.
Second set of eyes, somebody totally different, looking
Yes.
at your books.
Yes, because and you know it, you all know it well. Like, there's so much transactions coming there that
How
it's,
did it get past us?
yes,
How did it get past us? And I was forever grateful. So I don't feel like if I'm nitpicking at looking at these, if I'm going to sit on the committee, I'd like to know. I'd like to know more of what the finance entails. Okay, you're looking at documentation. Okay, transparency.
yes,
People and then these are recorded, so some people see that we're on here and they'll say, "Oh, Dinah, can you look into this?" When I say that, I'm like, "Oh my gosh," Just, I think there's an area for emergencies. And someone asked me, can you ask more questions about that? When it comes to procurement, right? You guys have it on the website as well. And it does say emergency purchases. And so that I did look into them, and I just saw a few. And I thought some of them to me were questionable. I saw like a flat tire in there or something. I feel like if a lot of those, are they really emergencies? Because and you're doing the right thing. You've got to post them because your auditor is going to look at them. You are aware of what I'm talking about, right?
yes.
When you're doing a purchase after hours, or let's say that somebody got a flat tire going on 7th Street. So, is it really a state of an emergency where he couldn't have called just the office to say, I have a flat. Do we have an open purchase order? Do you guys also do that? Like starting July 1st, you create your purchase orders to all your vendors? Let's say,
A lot of departments do have their open purchase orders.
right. So that it doesn't have to look like it's an emergency. A $12 purchase order is an emergency. And I see what they're seeing and they're logged on the website. I think it takes more time to fill out all that paperwork rather than just go into the office and get your purchase order going.
Yeah, yes, it's more efficient to have open purchase orders.
Correct. And that would solve that. And I saw them and it was brought to my attention just because it's like I said, someone just saw that I do sit on the finance committee and just said, Dinah, are those really emergencies, but I don't, everybody does things different, right? And your auditor, like I said,
And that's really up to the department directors, yes, to how they want to run their department.
Correct.
We can't really sit here and tell each department director, what to do. And
Mhm.
it's really up to the department director and to see how they want to handle those.
Correct. It would go to the department director. They would just have to call it in, make the purchase order that same day, and it wouldn't have to be listed as one. Because what if you forget to do it?
But some of those go through the city manager's desk. If they're doing a project out there and something breaks or they gotta adjust it and it's an emergency, they go through the city manager immediately, and he makes that call if it's gonna be an emergency call or not, to get somebody else on that job, or for whatever reason it is. So, yeah, the directors normally get together with him on the bigger ticket items when it comes to emergencies. If there's a certain price, if we said we're going to do this project for $300,000 and something happens during that project that we got to divert from that, well, the city manager is involved in it, that decision making. And he's also involved in any order changes. When you're paving a street or fixing the water line or whatever, and there's change orders, the directors involved him in those decisions. He's a hands-on city manager. So, yeah. But on the smaller ones, $5, $10 ones or $20 ones or stuff like that, those ones do go to the directors. And then they submit them to the finance director.
So when you guys have like invoices that jump from June to December to January, do you guys ever look at those? I'm looking at one here that's a mid waste west. It's on page 27. It's like almost to the end. And it went from June 2021, then it went December 2021, and January 2022.
Well, sometimes,
Like a total skip there.
yeah,
Sometimes entire year.
sometimes it all depends when you order stuff and
Yeah.
when stuff arrives. And I'll give you a good example. We ordered some canopies for our parks, and they've been on back order for some time. And the company agreed to a certain price, and because they couldn't deliver during that time, our city manager is asking them to give us a break or a discount or a better price because we're having to wait. And it's not their fault. It's the companies that they get it from.
It just came out late.
So sometimes you do have broken up invoices, and it all depends how you're paying for those items.
Did you say page 27, Francine?
Yeah. I just wonder if it came that late, because I know we've done that before too, where it comes that late. A lot of these vendors, especially now during COVID, things have come so late, especially computers that you're waiting for.
Are you talking about the trilogy?
Yeah,
Waste?
yeah. That was a big wait from June to December.
Those do look like they were 3 months that they were.
It looked like quarterly at first when I was looking at it, and then it like jumped. But that's like, I was just wondering what that was, that Midwest West.
And it's only $32 a month?
Yeah. I was wondering what was that? Is that like a quarterly thing, or is that
I
just
think
something?
it looks like to me like if those months were skipped,
Yeah.
maybe the invoice got lost in the mail and
Yeah, because now we've been having problems with the mail ourselves. Yeah.
That could have been
Unfortunately,
very possible too.
yes.
Lost invoice.
And
We've been having
unfortunately, those will become audit findings. Okay. Hopefully the auditor doesn't select them.
Yeah. Because the mail has been so bad for us. I don't know
Right.
about you guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good one, Francina.
Yeah.
You also have food. You see the raw food that's for your
That's for the senior center.
Citizens, yeah.
awesome. You also
Mr.
have
Bacon, do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Hope you can hear me.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
can
think
hear
like
you.
he doesn't see us like we do, like auditors. I think that's the difference for Mr. Frank.
We can see you and we can hear you now
Okay, good.
clearly.
Sorry, Mr. Franken, but this is the type of tedious,
No, I understand. No, I
tedious
understand.
work that we do.
Miss Eleanor.
Yes.
How many funds do we have? Just so that they can get an idea as to how our budget works.
I can't even tell
You
you.
have it too, don't worry.
It's a lot. General fund
that-
is
Excuse me.
biggest.
You see, that's what I'm getting at, is we have so many funds, and in each one of these funds, I mean, some of those funds date back to 2017, for instance, of monies that were appropriated since then that haven't been spent. And here we are spending them a little bit at a time or all of them at one time. And then those funds that aren't, being spent in that year, they got to be rolled over. And we just saw one of the deals that happened now with those $10,000 is we didn't roll it over. So here we are rolling it over now. But either way, understand that city government I don't see it being run like a school system or a business. I think it's more, I guess I would say that it's more, there's so many parts to it that if you ask the finance director, well, how was this money spent? He ain't gonna pull it out of his brain right off the bat, because there's so many accounts and so many funds that it comes from that it's impossible. I mean, they'd have to look into it and see. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions that you want to follow up on, let me know, and we'll direct them to the finance director, and they can check into it like for next meeting, and they'll have an answer for us and a breakdown on what happened with that funding, or where it came from, or how it was allocated, and what's the balance of it and stuff like that too. You know, specific things if you guys want to do that. But yeah, like in the city needs, I'll tell you, the rec center is completely different from the police department as far as the programs, their needs, the services, who they pay for different activities, and their seasonable activities. And we have like internet service, and we have computer service there. We have separate billing for heating and so forth. The police department, they do different grants. We hire specialists at time to come and help us out or give us training or stuff like that. The streets department, they get different funding from mostly legislative or their budget. We make adjustments and to help them out there. So there's tons of different kinds of spending. And then you got to consider the different fundings that come in through different organizations that are grants that the city administers. Some organizations apply for grants, and then we get them, and they have to have somebody administering them. So we're responsible for them. So we have to be accountable for them. So then mayor and council has to keep them accountable to give us all receipts and all documentation and the whole works in order to, when we get audited, you know, which we have, and we'll find out what those findings were this last year. So just keep in mind that, you know, it's a broader finance department than most of what we have in the community. I think, you know, I mean, the county, the same thing. But they're not, I don't think they have as many funds as we have, the line item numbers, because, I mean, we're huge. I mean, we have, what is it, a total of a 60-some million dollar budget?
Yeah.
Operating budget?
Approximately.
Yeah. Something like that. So, you know, it's a lot of line items, but I think we're in the right track. And like I say, you know, if we can ask everything we want on this monthly spending, but like if you have something specific in the future, let's point it out and say, you know what, I want more information on this, and then that way we can go into detail on that one. But go ahead, anybody?
COVID funds,
Which fund?
COVID,
Oh,
or
okay.
ARP. Are we on track as far as spending that down? I'm sure that there's a deadline as to when that all needs to be expended.
I didn't
Is there a budget,
look at
is there a
those.
budget balance on that fund?
I believe we were given, what, 1.5 million this first time, and then next year another 1.5.
Uh-huh.
So I think we have a total of, what is it, 2 years or 3 years on that, Mr. Montoya?
I think it's a 3-year time period to spend it, but that 1.5 is already gone. Our COVID money, we spent it. We spent it on employees one time, $1,000 one-time bonus, and then we spent it on. I gave you guys all a listing and a report. I don't have it with me, but I had given you guys a report on what we spent all that money on. But we are waiting for another 1.5 this year, so hopefully, Mayor and Council, and again, with your suggestions, when that money is coming in, I'll let you guys know, and you might make recommendations. I think you had one recommendation, Dinah. I can't remember what it was, and I think we even did it. But yeah, this last time, what we did is Mayor and Council decided what we're going to do with all that money, and it wasn't out of the COVID, but the other funding that we got. How much was it? The care funding.
I don't remember off the top of my head. I don't work directly with these just yet, so to remember all these numbers, it's just I don't remember that piece.
Well, on that one, each ward kept $325,000. I know for road construction or sidewalks that we still have. I don't think. I think maybe Councilman Romero has spent some on the sidewalks on Independence. I'm not sure, but the rest of it had been spent. And that on that one, on the care one, we bought some holsters, some belts, some uniforms, some. I don't have the list, but I remember telling you guys about it. I'm letting you know what we had spent it on. Yeah. But on this next round, I'll let you guys know ahead of time that we're getting it and make your recommendations on what we can spend it on. But there are specific items that it can be spent on. We can't just spend it on anything. So it's got to be like COVID related that affected us somehow. Any other questions on the monthly report? Now, Eleanor, I did ask you to do that report from what dates to what dates? Was it
It was
after
for the
all?
month of January.
What was that?
For the month of January?
January 1st through the 31st.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll be a month behind, and because we do have our meetings on the third Monday of the month, so we'll be a month behind every time. So next month in March, we'll be getting February's report.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. Next meeting will be on Monday, March the 14th, 2022 at 2 p.m. And just for information purposes, tomorrow the Chamber of Commerce has invited me to go over the KNMX at 1 o'clock to discuss the city charter amendments, and there's 19 of them. And I will be taking our city attorney, Aaron Scott, with me. The city clerk will be occupied in a training with the Secretary of State's office. And we're going to try and be transparent. We did have the clerk and the city attorney did have a couple of meetings last week or a week and a half ago, from 10 to 11 and from 2 to 4. And really only one individual showed up. So, but it is important that people understand the city charter, what it means, what it pertains to, and how often they got to do amendments and so forth. And our city charter we're a home rule municipality. So we make our own rules of how we want to govern our own city municipal government. So whenever there's any changes to the charter, basically, at this point, the charter says we got to appoint a charter commission. And that's one of the items on the agenda is that we're asking the voters that mayor and council decide 3 different forms of doing the amendments or coming up with the amendments for the next 10 years, because they have to do every 10 years. And that's another item that's on the agenda to vote on is if we want to revisit that charter every 5 years instead. So there's a lot of changes, a lot of recommended changes, and people got to know about it because that's going to make the changes that are going to affect the government for the next 10 years. So one of them is the salary pay. And I tell you this because this does affect our finances. And these items, for instance, one of the items on there that will affect us is that there's a recommendation that we don't have any more runoffs, that we don't win by 50 plus 1% of the vote, or 50 plus 1 vote. Yeah, percent of the vote. That we avoid that runoff, and whomever wins, whether it's by half a vote or full vote. For instance, there's no half votes. But that would eliminate another election paying $2,000. And then there's other things such as joining in with the state elections, which are in November, every 2 years. And our elections are every other year in March, every 2 years in March. And we're having to pay for those elections. And if we join the state, well, we'd have more participation also. Because our March elections, a lot of times that people don't show up to vote. But in the June and November elections, people show up because they got to vote for governor, president, and so forth. So, there is a lot of changes, 19 of them. One of them is the salary for city employees. I mean, city council, mayor and council. They're proposing that it goes back to where it was before, what the commissioners are making in the county. So, well, we're going to go and try and explain some of this, all of them, see if we can do it all in 1 hour and explain to the community what they're going to be voting for, and so that they can expect to stay there for a little while. Plus, if you want to pick up a copy, if you have any questions, the clerk is always open for any questions pertaining to voting or the charter. They do have copies over here at the front desk explaining each amendment and the changes on it. If you want to prepare beforehand, before you go out and vote there at the voting poll. The other one is that, there's 19 of them. I mean, I'd be here for another hour if I went through all of them. But some of those do affect our budgets, and some of them affect people individually. If you have any questions on any of them, call the city clerk's office, or you can come by and visit with them. Like I said, only one person showed up, so there was very little interest. But we made it available. We do have a city council meeting on Wednesdays. It is on YouTube. If you want to tune in, you're welcome to. And
I have one last question on the expenditures for Dina Holcomb Law Office.
Virginia, who?
What does she represent the city for? Is this on union matters by any chance?
Is that the attorney?
Yes, it's Holcomb Law Office. Would that be
Yeah.
Dina Holcomb?
I think she works in different cases. She has a contract with the city of Las Vegas, and she works in different cases that our city attorney or city manager, director to do, so on. Yeah, and that could be union, it could be personnel matters and so forth. Yeah. We have a couple of those attorneys that deal with personnel matters. Well, not only personnel, but our water attorneys, and we have different kinds of attorneys to handle different problems, different issues. Any other questions? Seeing none, I request, we have one last item on here before adjournment, and that's approval of this budget and recommendations to the mayor and council. So do I hear a motion to approve this budget?
Which budget are you referring to?
The one she just gave you on the enterprise funds?
Just the financial report for January?
Yeah, yes, on the general fund, the enterprise
disbursement
funds, the
detail.
recreation.
And the
Pardon me?
disbursement detail.
Yes. Well, that one doesn't go to mayor and council. This is just a motion on approving the budget itself that she just gave us.
The budget balance report then? Mr. Franken, I think the one that they just report on budgets as far as the percentage that's left.
I get it's the January financial report that we would be reviewing and not a budget, but
Okay,
I mean, is that correct, Mr. Montoya?
Is that correct, Ms. Eleanor? Is that what you want the approval on?
Yes.
The expenditures or because it says on here approval of budget. and
Well, we're approving, it's, I guess, really budget and expenditures. And when we're really reviewing it, it's the finance report. So I could actually change that wording for next time on the agenda as well. But yes, in a sense, it's the January finance report.
Okay, that, I'd say we should refer to it also. So,
But that
so
January, Eleanor, that January report does not go to mayor and council.
That was put in as a recommendation by you, Mr. Montoya.
the final,
My notes
report.
wanted it as on the agenda. Did you want that still written in the agenda, or did you want that removed completely?
Well,
That piece right there where it says approval of budget and recommendation to council.
the budgets are approved by this committee, but the recommendations of the day-to-day operations are not.
Okay.
This report that you made for our finance committee for Dinah,
Yes.
that one will not go before mayor and council for approval.
So then I guess essentially
those-
then what we're approving is the resolutions, I guess.
Yeah, because those have not been, those have already been spent. We've already spent it. We've already approved those. Mayor and council have already
Yes.
approved all those spendings, all those expenditures. That's just a
So then
report.
it's the approval of the resolutions.
Yeah, that's a report that you requested, that you wanted to look at and dissect it or whatever. But it's not for approval for mayor and council. The mayor and council doesn't approve that. I mean, we don't request that because we've already spent it. We've already approved it. So to us, it would make no sense.
So did you want this wording crossed off the agenda then?
Yeah, because that report's not approved by mayor and council. It's not a recommendation. I thought you meant this budget report. This budget.
That's what was my understanding. So then, no. So then, you're right.
Yeah, this budget report can be approved for mayor and council. Because this is what's gonna be presented to mayor and council.
Okay.
This right here, this, your
The
expenditures,
finance report?
your general fund, your expenditures, enterprise funds, the lodging tax and so forth. This
What's
report,
the finance?
that report, finance report will go to mayor and council. But the one you asked for, Dinah, that breakdown does not go to mayor and council and doesn't need approval from this committee. So are you requesting that this finance report be approved, Eleanor?
Yes, since you said that does go to council, correct?
Yes. So maybe that's what you meant to put on the approval of budget.
Yes, I just had the wrong wording then.
Okay. Well then, does everybody understand that now?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's what we approve every time, this budget. And we've gone through it today and now she's asking for the,
Approval,
so we can go ahead and.
Council.
Yes, sir. First by Mr. Franklin.
A second.
I move to recommend approval to council.
Who seconds that?
I'll second it.
Ms. Minor. All those signify by saying aye.
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 The ayes take it, there's no nones. So it's been approved. Ms. Eleanor, the next item on the agenda is adjournment. And I'll stand for a motion to adjourn if there's no other discussion.
Make a motion, we adjourn?
Thank you, Francine.
I second
Second,
it.
thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? None. Well, you guys have a happy Valentine's Day. I thank you for your time. We'll see you back in March the 14th.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.
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 Thank you, Mr. Montoya.
We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You're dressed appropriately.
I did.